Tobias has a loaf of bread that has been in the refrigerator on his head because he got too excited, jumped, and hit his head on, like, what is that called? The pull-up
like
bar.
pull-up bar,
Yeah, pull-up
yeah.
bar that we have at the entranceway of between the kitchen and the living room.
This morning was funny because we had two small incidents, and then they caused some massive trouble. I think first one was me trying to. So we got like a post delivery, and it was unexpected. So we kind of like not opened the door because it was, I don't know, when was it, like 9:30. So I thought, okay, usually
Something like 10 o'clock, I think.
post wouldn't come that early, but then it seems like I got a book because I write the Amazon reviews sometimes, and so publishers keep sending me their stuff. But that was really unexpected, so I was like, okay, maybe it's somebody else, like people that from electricity providers, they just want to make you cancel your contract.
Solicitors.
Yeah, solicitors, unsolicited stuff. I'm not really buying into that usually. So I'm like, okay, no, I probably won't open the door. And if it's actually like the post guy, probably he just puts it into the mailbox. But then I got the card that I have to pick it up, and then. What happened with you? What was your story?
And I was gonna get annoyed because I was like, ugh. I was trying to get you to open the door, but I was too shy. And then I was like, okay, and then
we both barely dressed at this time.
And then you were asking me to pick up the parcel, and I was like, I have to like be the one to pick it up for you because you didn't want to answer the door.
Okay, anyway, but in the end, I met the post guy, and he said that it's actually another guy who would be delivering the package, and then like 2 hours later, he came back actually, because I think because I know him, because he often delivers his packages here, and then he was so kind, and then he himself delivered the package, even though it was actually run by another guy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's really nice of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's always the same guy who delivers our.
Yeah, he's really nice.
mail.
But then I got so excited that I got the package. I opened it. It's a book by James C. Scott. It's on. Yeah, hard to explain. It's a new theory about how civilizations work, and it's called Against the Grain in English. And I read into like the English version before, but now they published the German version, so I was like, yeah, this is finally the book I want to have and review it. So I was kind of like jumping through the building, and then I hit my head with so hard against the pull-up bar that I felt like I knocked myself out of it. So the first moment I thought I would have a concussion or something like that. So now I'm cooling it, but everything is good. I think it's just like gonna be a small bump in my head for a while.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think you'll have what do you call it in Filipino? Because I remember when we were kids, we would hit our heads a lot by accident just from playing around. Is it bolok?
Boluk.
I think that's like a bump that you get when you like hit your head. And it's like a bruise but swollen kind of.
Is it like a special word that's only in Filipino? Or
no,
in
I think it's
Tagalog,
just like a bump on your head.
Just a bump.
Yeah, like a swollen.
We call it Beule in German.
Yeah, a boil.
Beule.
Is it
It's
a
like
boil?
the same like in a car, like a bump in English also like.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like a speed bump?
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, that just like gave me a flashback because I feel like I had like that happened to me a lot when I was a kid.
Did you remember any like stories where you have like where you fell or hurt yourself really bad and then your mom came or?
Like I just remember falling down the stairs a lot when you're like 3 and still learning how to do things properly. But you know, when you're a kid, you're still kind of indestructible.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've hit my I tended to get like scraped and stuff a lot when I was a kid, and and then I don't know, I would always have to go to like the secretary to get a Band-Aid and stuff like that. But
I know there are a lot of kids that get like constantly. I think my brother was more he always fell with his bike, so he's always like having some like bloody scars, or he was like I never like really hurt myself so bad, but I broke my arm once and was like really gross because like my bone was really like rectangular,
graphic warning.
Yeah, graphic warning. But it's so far nothing like that I would say it's like so bad that I had to go to the hospital for it. Apart from like the broken arm.
No, I've never broken any bones before, but I think just the idea for me is like it's just like I'm okay with seeing things like cuts and whatever, and bruises and scrapes, but like when it comes to body parts that aren't where they're supposed to be, like that freaks me out.
Speaking of which, you had this for a while. You really watched a lot of these like videos. Maybe you can explain what you're like interested in.
The things that I watch on YouTube.
Yeah. Like
the wide variety of things. Yeah, like I'm really interested in watching medical videos. So this is actually a common thing. A lot of people like to watch those like pimple popping videos. Blackhead extractions, but then I would also watch
earwax,
lipoma extractions. What else? This is after I had surgery, but I've had an ACL reconstruction done on my knee, which is your anterior cruciate ligament, which is the ligament that holds like your shin bone and your thigh bone together. That one had to be repaired, and then a few years later I watched a video that does like a surgery of that. And wow.
You can actually watch the video from your own surgery?
Not my own, but like a surgery being performed.
Because I heard, I don't know if that's true, that they have to record any operation, and you can
really? In Germany or where?
Maybe in Germany, and you are allowed to order the video. I don't know if that's only when something like goes wrong, or if that's the case for any operation. So you can actually like check on like what they were doing, what they are talking about, and I think like the surgeons, from what I heard from a friend of mine who's also a doctor, it's really like you don't want to hear what they're talking about sometimes. Like
I know that there was a problem where like a lady, somehow her phone was recording her surgery, like the audio, and they heard like the surgeons talking poorly about her and like making fun of her, and she sued them. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's
like some from the videos that I see, I know that it is common for doctors and surgeons to be like making like small talk and whatever during surgery, but they never talk about the actual patient. They shouldn't be talking about the patient, at least.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Why would you be making fun of a person that is so vulnerable in this situation? That's just horrible. Like just the idea makes me super angry already.
Yeah. So yeah, this is in the States, I believe, and she got sued.
And then, what happened to the videos? So you're watching a lot of these medical videos, but why did you lose the interest? I mean, you were so into it for a while.
Yeah, there was
you even performed some small extractions.
Well, I use Tobias as like my subject sometimes, so like this is gonna like gross people out. But like sometimes I would help Tobias like clean his ears and like get rid of his like blackheads and whiteheads and stuff. But that's not really surgery, it's just like cleaning ears.
But maybe there is a hidden interest that like me as a person, because we always had in the family a lot of these like diseases for a while.
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't watch it voluntarily, but I find it interesting that you were so into it, even though you are not studying medicine or so.
No, this stuff is just really interesting to me. Oh yeah, I also should, like I was watching a lot of animal surgeries for a while. I don't know, for me it's just nice to see like how do people, like what do people do and how do they do it. I don't know, there's something really interesting to me about the process.
So you're more interested in the way how they perform it. You're not grossed out by what they do. It's more like you want to understand the process of how they do it.
Yeah,
like the more the technical.
Yes, yeah, that's what it is for me. And I think for a lot of people too, because for them it's like watching something that has been studied and has been calculated, and you're watching an expert do their job. And I think it's really nice, like watching experts doing what they do best.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're at the hair salon and you're just like watching the person cut your hair. It's like something really
Yeah.
like,
I know
fun to
sometimes
watch.
I get like goosebumps when you
Really?
feel somebody knows his stuff. He's just like an expert. You can like this is the feeling of this true reliance on somebody's skills, maybe something like that. You're very much like putting yourself into the hands of an expert. I think this is a common theme where people you just feel comfortable.
Yeah.
It's more like this ASMR feeling where like somebody talks slow to you and it soothes you, and this expert, he knows his stuff, so that is like this
This like balance and harmony. I think that's what people kind of try to find, something where it's not so chaotic. People know what they're doing, and
maybe like something like that.
but yeah, that stuff is interesting to me. But I don't know what happened. I think I got like sick, and when I was we got the flu, was it?
Oh yeah.
And then it was during that time where just like everything grossed me out, and I like so I had to take a break, and I just haven't gone back to it. But I feel like these things happen in like phases, so I'll come back to it again eventually. And yeah, in the meantime, I'm watching a lot of there was a period where I was watching a lot of soap making videos. Those ones were really fun to watch. And then lately I've just been watching more of like those like self-help ones, or the ones that talk about like psychology or relationships and stuff like that. And those are really interesting to me. So I like listening to them at work or when I just go home and I'm relaxing.
Yeah, but these medical videos, when I think about it now, what's so new and so interesting, even though I wouldn't watch it, is the fact that you're showing, or you are like the common theme of the internet. You're exposing yourself to the audience. You're showing what they're doing. It's not like so much a secret anymore. It's open to everybody. You can check it.
Yeah.
It's in a way you're trying to make the doctors more human, and I think probably it really helps people that have really anxiety, like let's say to go to the dentist or something like that. I think it's called trypanophobia, where people are like so afraid of like the drilling noises or something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe if you watch it, you lose your anxiety to go to a doctor.
You've had some bad experiences with the dentist too, haven't you?
Not with the dent. Like I just had mainly all stuff that you can have in terms of dentistry. I had like the wisdom teeth removed. I had a vaccination, but anesthesia, and it really didn't work. So they started drilling, and then it really hurt.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it was painful. But then I was twitching, and then the doctor was like, "Hey, is it not working? And you're not supposed to feel anything."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, I feel it a bit." And then in the end, they highed the dose, I think, too much. So a couple of days after, I was still like, yeah. That was pretty much like the wisdom teeth operation.
That's for your wisdom teeth operation?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I got four of them removed at once.
Yeah, I got mine all removed at once, but I was asleep.
Yeah, I wasn't asleep. That I have to add, because I don't know what.
I don't know how I would. Like, I know people do it without general anesthesia, but
yeah.
I don't think because like you can hear like your bones cracking and stuff like that from what I've heard. No?
I don't remember that, but I just know that I was listening to like my music.
Yeah.
At this time, it was still like MP3 player. Like I don't know. Like
yeah.
I wasn't on phone, but I think I was trying to like distract myself by listening to stuff.
Yeah.
And also the dentist told it before, like, just bring your music. And he did a good job. Like, it went all well. So I don't bear a grudge or so. Maybe it was just like the way that he put the anesthesia at first.
It could be that like maybe it didn't quite catch the vein that it was supposed to.
Yeah, could be.
Because I've had it happen to me too, where like I just didn't feel the effects. But also there was like a shift at one point, because when I was a kid and you would get the local anesthesia, your face would get swollen because that's just like a normal allergic reaction to the anesthesia. And that's what I was used to. And then several years later, they did the same thing. And I was like, my face isn't swollen. But then he would like tap my teeth and be like, does this hurt? And I'd be like, no. Then it's working.
Step one, step twice.
Yeah. But he did have to do it the second time. So the first time I felt it. And then the second time, it wasn't swollen, but I still, like, I wasn't able to.
For me, I had this, when my brother also got his wisdom teeth removed, I got this like mirror, like I saw him coming back. I still remember it so vividly. So he came pretty much like walking or crawling out of the car, and he was like, hey, don't talk to me, don't talk to me.
Really?
Like, yeah, he was like using his like cooling pads on both sides.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Wait, after his wisdom teeth?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's normal though.
Yeah, but it's it's just like I wasn't really traumatized by it, but I just couldn't eat for 2 days, and then I think right now I feel most people, they have like the general anesthesia, like the local anesthesia with removal of 4 wisdom teeth, probably not so common anymore. I don't know if there are any like dentistry experts.
No, I think they still
there.
do it.
Yeah, okay.
I think it just depends on your orthodontist.
Okay.
But the one that I went to, they do general anesthesia. I still remember, because when I went, okay, so the doctor dentist, I still remember, because he had this like, he was wearing this like bandana on his head, and it had like the American flag, like, and bald eagles on it.
Oh, that's cool.
And, and he looked like if
David Foster Wallace.
No, but like if you never told me that he was a dentist, I would have thought he was like a biker, like a biker or whatever.
Harley Davidson.
Yeah, like that kind of guy. And I was like, all right, this guy's gonna be doing my teeth. But then, yeah.
What, were you losing your faith just by his appearance at first?
No,
like
no.
a millisecond or?
No, I was just like, I just thought it was really funny.
Nice.
And then, but he was cool. He was really friendly, so it was fine. And then when I woke up with like, I think 4 other people in the same room.
Really?
It's like they do like the wisdom teeth like mass produced.
Wisdom teeth factory.
Yeah. So then when they did like at the end when they explained to you like what to do at home and stuff, like we were all sitting like half like drugged and stuff, like just like listening to like what's going on. But it was funny. Like for me, I just woke up like, and you can tell that other people kind of took it take the anesthesia a bit like harder.
Yeah. But did you get it back, your wisdom teeth, or? Because I got mine, and they're like super, like they look like Dracula teeth, like they're
huge,
like,
aren't they?
Yeah, they're like 3-4 centimeters.
I can't remember if I got mine back. If I did, I didn't like really keep them. But they're really cool to look at. I had no idea how it makes sense, but it's just so interesting to see how deep how big they are, how long they are. But yeah, it was. But I got like, after like recovering from wisdom teeth, for me was really hard. I got like pretty depressed from it.
Okay, what?
Because I was eating like applesauce every day, and then I felt like, I couldn't like eat the things that I wanted, and then I was just lying in bed. And my friend, she was so nice. She came over, and she brought me like a smoothie and stuff, and it was nice to have like something different.
Did you get ice cream? Usually then.
Did I get ice cream? Maybe I did. I don't remember. I just remember applesauce. Lots of applesauce.
How old were you?
In my 20s.
Okay. So, okay. I think I was
like early, like 20 or so. Maybe.
So.
Okay, yeah. I didn't get mine until like university.
Okay. Yeah, these surgeries, they are like, they're still in your head. Like you can still remember the impact. But I liked it because my mom and my dad, they were taking care of me. I think that there was during the week where you had 1 week break or so
Like
you
spring
can
break, kind of?
yeah, so like I think it was autumn break.
Okay,
Here
yeah.
you have 1 week off during autumn, and then yeah, you're just at home watching TV, taking it easy, having everything like wrapped around your head, try to cool it, eating
Yeah.
soup.
Do you get like nausea from like anesthesia?
I no,
Okay, 'cause
usually not.
I
No.
think I think that's a reaction that I get from general anesthesia. I tend to get nauseous from it.
Okay.
So it's the same when I had my knee surgeries. I was like nauseous for like several days afterwards. So I couldn't really watch TV and do all that stuff. So I think that's why I got pretty depressed, because it was just like I was lying in bed and like not doing anything. But now I'm good.
Yeah.
Well, minus the depression, but otherwise I'm good.
So how's that right now?
I'm in a tough phase right now, but I don't know. I think with depression it's difficult because you can never tell if you're actually upset about things or if you're just depressed. I think it's really frustrating because you just want to know if your thoughts are valid, if your feelings are valid, or if it's just like your mental health. But I'm trying to take my meds regularly again, which is something that I tend to neglect, and then that's when things go wrong.
So there is a like cause for it maybe, or is it like both, like from
I think it's
social and
both.
from
I think it's both.
yeah.
It's definitely worse when I don't get enough sleep.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I really do need to get a lot of sleep, otherwise it becomes worse. Exercise, maybe it helps, but I feel like I am very dependent on medication, so I just have to make sure that I keep taking them. I remember when I was traveling with my sister in like before I even moved here, when we were backpacking, I had like an emotional breakdown because I was just so tired of like having to take all these medications for like my skin and for my depression and like all these other things. And like as I get older, it'll just be more medications, and it would just be so nice to not have to depend on medicine. But at the same time, my body needs it. I just know that if it came to natural selection, I would not be selected.
Yeah, but don't think about it that way. You can see like nowadays other skills are needed. It's not like so much dependent on your body, but your brain, and you're like a very intelligent programmer. You know so much about like communication strategies. So I think like from biological selection, from that standpoint, there is no way to argue from this take maybe anymore.
Yeah, I think it's important to look at the context that you're in, and now we live in a world where we don't have to hunt for food and
walk like
always
10 kilometers with a pack.
Yeah, and be like always on the lookout for your own safety, things like that. So
The big hunt.
yeah. It sounded like you said something else. But yeah, I wanted to go back to a topic because you were mentioning these Amazon reviews, and what you haven't talked about yet is how you also like enjoy reading a lot of books, writing reviews, and you've also written a book yourself. Did you want to talk about that, or do you want to talk about it another day?
Maybe I'll do an episode on this, an extra episode, because I feel it now right off the bat. I would maybe do one episode that really explains the concept of the books that I wrote. So right now I think it's more on communication and how we dealing with it, like everyday stuff, like how we are like living our life basically now, fresh out of university. So the books were always my side project, and I wrote them to just display or explain how the younger generation is trying to live their life. Basically, it's like a contemporary project with 3 parts now, but I think I'm working on more always, because my brain is always like trying to catch like some stimuli and some snippets here and there, and then I'm just trying to incorporate it. But I think, yeah, for me it would be cool when we have another episode on books, so anybody or who's interested in the project has more more focus on that with an extra episode.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I think it's interesting to see like how different you and I are in terms of like how we react to things. Like
exactly.
Like you're very much somebody whose mind is always racing, and you have so many thoughts that you are just trying to like keep like track down. Whereas for me, I don't think people realize it, but sometimes when I'm editing these podcasts, I have to cut out a lot of like silence because I'm like talking so slowly that there's no fluidity to how I speak. And I think sometimes like my brain just doesn't really work as fast as I would like it to, especially when my depression gets pretty bad, which I think it was quite bad like last week and a little bit of the week before. Today it's a bit better, just because I've been taking my meds for a couple of days now, so I think it's not so bad. But yeah, like for you, it's like your mind's always racing. For me, it's like my mind's not fast enough. And then how you're extroverted, like last night you went to a party and I was like, nope, don't want to go. Just gonna stay at home.
Yeah, it's true. I think we are in this way we are different because you are more this depression person. I think I'm more of an anxiety person, so I'm doing a lot of stuff because you said like my brain is always racing, but on the other side it's also a lot of stuff that I'm afraid of. So I think when I do stuff, I'm forcing myself to face that the anxieties that you have, and then you are very much maybe not distracting, but also trying to keep your mind just busy all the time. And then I get into also like you get into these circles of like pondering upon stuff, and I think with me it's more the opposite. I get into this like I have to do more, I have to do this, then I have to work out, then I have to work, and then I get into this like the mode of like working and trying to do as much as I can, and not finding any calm or moments anymore. So that's why I think for me I really enjoy the meditation right now, and this is probably the only thing apart from sports that helps me.
When did you start doing meditation?
Maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I also had like this moment, like a very emotional moment when was it? I think it was during the time my brother got a bit sick. I mean, he got
maybe a bit more than a bit sick.
Yeah, he had a cancer, and then my mom at this time... He's
okay now.
Yeah, he's okay now. But my mom was... she's at dialysis for years, and I felt always like under pressure. I was so busy with university still, and then... I don't know, I was also like just like overworked or overwhelmed. So I got these like really heavy like thoughts, like anxiety, stuff like that. And then, that was also pretty harsh. And so I think from that moment on, I did a course on, it's called autogenous training. It's kind of like the precursor. You learn like you're in a group setting. It feels like at first when I came there, it was like I was in a sect. So there was like the guru, and then he was standing. Guru, and they have different ways to calm yourself down. Like I think it's like mainly like 4-5 sessions. Then first you learn about because a lot of the nervousness comes from your arms and your legs, then also breathing exercises, and then it's mainly to learn how to fully relax your body. And that learning this, that when you get stressed and then you don't let the stress overwhelm you, that really helps. Because just the factual knowledge that you can control it's very good. And since I'm always like very fidgety and very like agile, I have to do stuff, I have to do sports. That is, I think, like my strength, but on the other side it's also my weakness, because then I tend to do too much. So I just need meditation or this training. So from this training sessions, I started with the meditation, and I just have to do it once in a while so I can really fully turn my thoughts off and be. I feel like it's also like exercising. It's also like you're controlling your thoughts. You're letting the thoughts go.
Yeah.
You might just want to use Headspace or something like that, but I think it really doesn't matter what tool or technique you use, if it's this autogenous training or Buddhist Vishna meditation or whatever. Like, it's just like letting all your thoughts and worries and anxieties go is, I think, one of the main skills that you learn or need nowadays, I would say.
Yeah, and meditation isn't really something that you are always good at. Like, it's something that, it's like a skill, it's like a muscle that you need to train. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I think like to expect for new beginners that they can just jump in and do like 40 minutes of meditating, that's a lot. But you
don't have to do like 40. You can start with like
5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah.
But for me, like I can't really get myself to do meditation as much as you can. Maybe because, I don't know. I tried using Headspace, and I even got the one for depression. Like, it was like a 1 month subscription. I can't remember how Headspace works anymore. But like I listened to the first couple podcasts on like meditation things on it, and I don't know. It's hard for me to just get myself to do it. I don't really enjoy it, if that makes sense. I do like what it has to offer, this idea of being okay with like just like having a moment of nothingness, which is like where you have lots of stuff going on and you can just train yourself to observe the stressors in your life and just let those thoughts kind of pass.
Yeah.
But maybe it's also because I'm just like so introspective a lot that I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm just making excuses, but I found that I didn't really find much from it as much as you do.
Yeah, I think for me that was really cool to discover it. But it takes a will to accept the ideas behind it, I think. But when you accept it, I think the payoff is pretty good. I think you learn some techniques, and I think the main thing is about me is that you take yourself too seriously. Before, I was just like, you're just so much focused on I'm trying to you're kind of like, everything that you decide is like so important, and then but when you do meditation, mainly about like Buddha and everything, is about you're not the center of the world, right? Like, your thoughts, maybe your brain thinks you are the center of the world, but when you just let this thought go, all the anxieties of like death and like these harsh thoughts that are at the center of everything, then it's you just have more the idea of acceptance and of not taking everything to your heart so much, right? You're just you have the silence and you accept it, and it's just there. And
I think I know that it's very common with like it's like things that like successful people do. I think maybe it's also because like these are the type of people who always have their minds racing all the time. They're always thinking of things, and I think they do need this moment to just calm their mind and relax. And
it's a bit paradox. It's like a paradox, because I think the main idea is to not think about anything, but when you use it in this context, you're already manipulating yourself, because you're using it to become successful. But I think if you take it seriously, you're just using it for yourself to calm down, to have a different perspective. But if you just use it in order to be really successful, you might just use it in the wrong way, I think.
Yeah, but I think people don't, it's not like if I meditate then I'll be successful. It's more of like my mind is so crowded right now that I just need to relax a bit.
Yeah.
And if I give myself that space, then I can probably succeed better. Myself.
Yeah, I read this book by Tim Ferriss and he was interviewing successful people from different branches, different backgrounds, and I think the main idea was that when he was writing about the findings, that all people who are really successful, they meditate, I think. Mm-hmm. And then that was a cool book because he writes about what do they read. So often they are very interested in East Asian philosophy to like basically, and they meditate a lot. Mm-hmm. So that's, yeah, I think it's like a cliche, but in this way it might be true.
Yeah.
Like think about Steve Jobs or...
Yeah. But for me, like, I think, yeah, I just don't think that it's meditation is what will get you there. It's because you are already the type of person who has this frame of thinking that would make you successful. And meditation is just something that you need to get to where you are. Versus if I said, okay, if I just meditate, then I'll be successful, I don't think it'll work.
Okay.
I don't think because I don't think I have the same way of thinking as like these successful people have. I'm not saying that I'm not going to be successful in my own way, but in terms of like being a CEO, being rich, having all these things, like you need to have a certain personality. You have to be able to lead people, and you have to be able to push ideas. And these are the people who really have this strong motivation to like, they have so much going on in their heads that meditation is what helps them.
Okay, I never thought about it this way.
Yeah, so that's why I think like for me, if I meditate, it's not going to change my success in life. It'll just, if anything, just give me peace.
Yeah, I think that what do you think is the connection between depression and meditation? Is there something like how depression works is that you have these like cycles where you feel worthless and you have no energy. So when you meditate, you even lose the energy then, or?
I guess for me, if it were to help me, it would be more of like observing the things that I get upset about or things that I worry about, and I don't know, because the thing is like it's still something that I'm working on. I'm guessing that maybe it would just help me to accept things and maybe not, I don't know, like if you worry that you are ruining people's lives and stuff, or worrying that, that like you're not really worth anything, I think meditation maybe might just give you this idea, this like space to kind of acknowledge that you have some thoughts and know that you can, like, they're there. I think that nothing will really change in terms of what thoughts enter your mind, but at least by acknowledging them, you can, it's not like this overwhelming sensation of thinking about them. So it's not like, oh my god, like I'm horrible and I'm ruining people's lives and I'm this burden to everybody. It's more of just like, okay, I have this feeling that I am a burden and it's something that I'm dealing with, and that's okay. Well, like, it's not okay, but like it's something that I'm aware that it's there. And I think this awareness is already a good first step. Yeah, I don't know, like I've been to one therapy session about like my depression, but I didn't feel that we had a connection where I felt like I walked out of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, depression's hard. Because like it's just like you have these really dark thoughts, and the fact that other people believe otherwise doesn't change anything. So, like, it doesn't change how I see it. And really,
yeah, if I would say Yeah, don't be happier. So like in the beginning when we got to know each other, I remember I said, yeah, maybe think about this and that, but now I already learned to deal with it. So it's like I think it makes it even worse when you make people like you put a blame on somebody. Okay, like you should do that, and then this is definitely not gonna change your perception, right? When you are in this way, I think it's more like being there and being understanding about it, but not like being pushy in terms of yeah you have to change, why don't you look at this side of life, or don't look at like people in Ethiopia are like even worse, so that's definitely not going to change it, because that's just like I think it's also a neurological process in your brain, right? It's not going to change it. Like maybe you can rationalize stuff, but you're probably not going to change the neurochemistry then.
Yeah, I feel that's what it is. When I, like growing up, I feel like I have been depressed for a long time, and I just didn't know if I was depressed or not, because it would be like, okay, well, if I'm happy about, if I still have like moments where I'm really happy, then I guess I'm not depressed. But then like after I finally got diagnosed, I started looking at my old like diary entries from when I was like a teenager and when I was a kid. I was like, oh my God, I actually was depressed the entire time, because I kept asking myself, I was like, am I actually depressed or am I just ungrateful?
Yeah.
And then it would be like, and I was like, how can I be depressed if other people have it worse? And I feel like knowing that other people have it worse makes you feel even like more horrible, because you're like, well,
you have to be happy. Why aren't you happy? There are people now coming from so many different backgrounds, and they're exactly. Then probably that makes it even harder to cope with it.
I think like us as a couple, like it's definitely been like a journey, like understanding how to, like for me dealing with your anxiety and you dealing with my depression. I think there's a lot of communication that we've like had to learn, and something that we're still working on, but I think we've come a long way since we first met.
Sure. But depression is just like basically looking back more, and anxiety is more like it's more about the future. I think that's roughly speaking the difference, right? Or
I remember there was a time when you were still writing or this is like a time where you were really stressed and you like hated being in crowds and the whole like you were very claustrophobic, and just like the idea of being in crowds like made you super like incredibly uncomfortable. Do you still feel that way now, like now that your major stressors are
I think I had for a while I had this claustrophobia, but usually no, I didn't have it anymore. So like for me it was also very interesting to observe how like it's because I realized it's just like the body and the thoughts. Like I think in this way you're over interpreting your body's signals, because like you feel like uncomfortable, or sometimes the lack of sleep or too much caffeine, and then you look too much into your body. What I really like to do that, because I'm checking my body. I'm like about what's interested about what's going on with my body, and then when you have reach a certain limit, you just like you do it too much, and then it gets really into these like stress attacks and stuff like that. So I think I learned about it and to deal with that, and I think now it's not nothing permanent, but probably it's like everybody has either like an anxiety, depression, or something like they all have these problems, I think. So some people like just like put it off for a while or trying to suppress it. They're using alcohol or hard drugs or whatever. But in a way, I think that is how I see it now. The major challenge of life to discover what are your weak spots, and I think it's always something that I have to work on, and the same. Probably you have to work on your depression, but I like the idea that there are ways to like I was listening to these motivation videos, and they really helped me because I think I'm very like receptive to like stimuli. So when these motivational videos, you remember I was watching and I was like so enthusiastic again.
I think you need to explain what these motivational videos are, because they're something that I don't listen to on YouTube.
You just type in motivational videos and there are a lot of videos from different like motivational speakers, athletes. Then they all have got the Hans Zimmer music. And then they show how there are people really like screaming at you, yeah, you take your life, you take the responsibility, you
very evangelical.
Yeah, it's evangelical. Some people like find it stupid, especially my mom. She doesn't like it. I showed it to her.
Really? What did she say about it?
She was like, okay, she just doesn't like. She finds it ridiculous. But for me, I needed somebody like to really, because I'm without my father, so I don't have like a male role model anymore.
Yeah.
So I just needed somebody to be really pushing me, and then I started doing sports and trying to be really active. And I think that this, having been in this dark space also for a while, where I thought, oh man, like I'm making no progress. I have so much difficulties in my family and my surroundings, and I also felt I couldn't like finish my PhD for a while. I was just like, there were so many things coming together that now looking back at it, I think this is the material I wrote the books about. It's just insane. Like, well, what was like, you've been also part of it. It's just insane. But I think maybe we dedicate one episode about like how to deal with setbacks and like hardships. Or is that the episode already?
No,
I don't know.
No, we can. I thought you were gonna say like we're gonna. No, I thought you said we're gonna do like an episode on motivational videos.
Les Brown, he's my favorite, and Lionel Scott, and sometimes they do a bit like I don't know, like Gandhi, Luther King, or a Navy SEAL who's screaming at you and trying to change your thoughts on your laziness. And I think, when I think about it now, I'm so grateful that I found it, because like some of them really helped me.
I think for you, like it really helped you just. It's like having your own personal coach.
Oh yeah.
And just being like, you just need to like just get to it, like just get it done.
Exactly.
And with some nice cinematic music in the background,
some nice music from Interstellar, Inception.
Yeah, and then like some like
that is
some loving shouting from other people.
Some nice shouting, somebody behind your back, like an army coach shouting at you, don't be lazy, don't. Yeah.
You listen to them on repeat too. Like it's not like you're finding new ones every day. You have like some favorite ones that you like to listen to.
Some favorites, and
motivation hits.
Motivational hits. They are. I downloaded them, and So you know what? Like that's so cool nowadays that you can like carry them around with you. I mean. Mobile phones cause a lot of stress, but on the other side, like they really help me to be up again, all the way up. So I truly, I'm super thankful for this possibility, because I don't know what it is in my life. Somebody's like really pushing me. I think that I have this internal drive, but.
Yeah, you just need that one little push to keep you going.
Yeah, and then, I think it's just like my, takeaway or my lesson learned from it, that you might find a way to get back and to deal with your problems in a way that, it's not like hopeless. There's always a. And then when you like, what I like about the motivational videos, sometimes they really tell the stories like famous people. I don't know if you can ever reach that level, but then, for instance, like the actor from Tyrion Lannister, Peter Dinklage, he tells his story. Like they're all people that have a lot of difficulties in their life, or I don't know, people from different backgrounds, who grew up in a poverty and teenage mom, and her mom is not his mom is not home and stuff like that, then I think for me it just I think I'm this receptive, so I put myself so much into the shoes or the perspective of these people, and I'm like, wow, I can change, like, just like change your perspective a bit. It's also what Tony Robbins always says, like, it's always a lot of stuff is about your perspective, how you deal with it, and then looking at it from that perspective, or from a literature standpoint, it's super interesting for me that I can really change myself. That is more like our American way of life. Mm-hmm. And I think that I was always drawn to this American culture and this thinking that you are changeable, like mm-hmm. you I mean, you're
not bound by
exactly
by your beginnings or your early I think for me, like, these kinds of videos aren't my style, but it makes me really happy to know that it gives you that push and that positivity that you need to do what you need to do, because I know that you're very smart and you have so many great ideas, and I think it's good to have something that's keeping you going. But I think that's our episode for today. Maybe we can quickly go over some of the comments that we got from you guys. First of all, thank you so much to everybody who has like written me or written us about, who has written me, or Tobias is just gonna go use the toilet, but I can carry on from here. I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who has written me and sent some feedback. And I have two in particular responses. One is from Robert. He was making a comment about the episode, I believe this is episode 3, where we were talking about the Bechdel test and how I said that Lord of the Rings does not pass the Bechdel test. And Robert made some good points, and I do agree with them. And I didn't put time to mention them, but I think I'll just read out what he said. So in regards to Tolkien, the author of Lord of the Rings, he says he definitely doesn't do a whole heck a lot of female representation. There are literally 0 women in The Hobbit and only 3 in the entire Lord of the Rings series who have any relevance to the plot. But I think it's interesting to look at at the role they play in Lord of the Rings, especially in the Silmarillion. I haven't read the Silmarillion, but I have it actually in Canada. I just never managed to finish it, because I'm also not good at reading. Anyways, going back. Éowyn, Arwen, and Galadriel are all portrayed as being higher and more powerful than their male counterparts. Éowyn killed the Witch King, something no man could do. Galadriel is literally the most powerful elf in Middle-earth. Arwen is a better ranger and faster rider than Aragorn. And in the Silmarillion, if you can get through it, this idea is really expanded upon. And no, women in real life aren't all flawless goddesses, and it's harmful to put them on this pedestal like that. So Tolkien, not a woke feminist by any means, but definitely not ambivalent or dismissive towards women. And I think that's a very good point to bring up that Robert said. It didn't. I think there are a lot of improvements that could be made in terms of like how women are represented, but I do appreciate that there was thought put into it, and plus this is the early 1900s, so I think feminism was still something that was still developing. But thank you, Robert, for that. He also wrote some other comments, and I'm just thank you so much for all the positive feedback, and Gwen sent me a very, very nice letter. She this was in response to the first 2 episodes, and she wrote a very nice letter about her own personal experiences, and I loved reading about that. And if any of you listeners have your own experiences that you would like to share, definitely send us a tweet or or on YouTube. You can also write comments in YouTube, and you can even use the timestamps there. But yeah, one correction that she made, which is a good point. She says, "You mentioned the Myers-Briggs test. My dad's a psychologist, so I've known about this test for a long time. Lots of people you meet online are introverts, but I feel you made an incorrect comment on the podcast. The difference between introvert and extroverts is, as I've been led to believe, is about energy. Introverts lose energy in groups of people and need more time to themselves, while extroverts gain energy being around other people and don't need so much alone time. I'm an introvert and I like being social, but once I've had enough, I've had enough and need some time to myself." And yeah, I think especially nowadays, Tobias can attest that I don't like going out.
Yeah. Right now, you don't enjoy it so much.
No,
anymore.
I don't enjoy it at all. Like, I think I enjoy socializing, but like going to these parties and stuff, it's just like, I don't know. I just can't.
People change. I mean,
yeah, because when I was in high school, I used to almost like look forward to the next party because I just loved hanging out with like people from high school and stuff. And I think now that I'm older, I don't have as many things that I need to. It's like I'm not trying to impress people. I'm not trying to reach a certain social status, so I just don't care about that anymore. But I do like talking to people, so yeah, I think that's why I get a bit confused, because I'm very much somebody who loves social interaction. I love talking to people online, but when it comes to physically being in spaces, I just don't have the energy for it. But yeah, that's why I like the internet. But yes, thank you, Gwen and Robert, for those very, very nice responses, and thank you everybody who's been supportive. It really means a lot to us. But yeah, if you want to find, well, I guess you already found us, the Genius Podcast. You can find us on YouTube, on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, and soon it will be on Apple, but I don't know. Hopefully by the time I finish editing and releasing this, it'll be online. But yeah.
I cool my bump now a bit.
What? You cooled your bum?
I cool my bump.
Or your bump?
Not my bum. Maybe also my bum, because it's 35 degrees or so.
It's really warm outside. But yeah,
don't forget to cool your bums.
Cool your bums, and I will see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye, guys.